Where do you start?
So in life, nothing is very easy. Yeah, in life, anything that is easy, maybe that's not very valuable, and anything that's valuable, achieving that and getting that, getting hold of that, is very difficult, and it requires a lot of struggle, I suppose. Yeah, and so in Bangla, when I look at Bangladesh, I'm very like I become very curious about it. It's a very different country for me, and it has started since its independence. It has started from a very big struggle, and you people, your generations or the generations before you, they struggled a lot to gain their independence, to create a new country in the world, and you started from, I think, not even zero, from minus, and Alhamdulillah, now the country Bangladesh is a very powerful country in some ways, and you have got, like, in the past, like, 50 years, a lot of achievements, and nowadays, beside Chinese and and Indian, like, workers or products, we see, like, Bangladeshi people and Bangladeshi products. So that's quite an achievement, and I'm amazed by Bangladesh. I think there is a lot of things that we can learn from you guys, from your history, from your struggles. How did you guys manage to, like, start from such a negative point and now become a very powerful country, or moderately powerful country?
All right, let me start with thank you for this opportunity to share our um, story about my country, and I truly appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah,
So, as you were talking, that Bangladesh went through a lot past 50 years.
yeah,
It's not actually 50 years; it's more than that.
yeah.
We can say it's 100 years.
Oh yeah,
As like based on my knowledge,
yeah,
that's what I have learned. Because at that time, Indian subcontinent were all together:
yeah,
Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh. So
yeah,
two country born in 1947, Pakistan and India,
yeah,
based on the religion. India is mostly Hindu uh, majority country, even though they claim India is a secular country, but I'm not sure how much that is true. And then Pakistan is a Muslim majority country. So then we went with Pakistan, even though Bangladesh was far away from Pakistan.
yeah,
So, as a Muslim majority country, we stayed with Pakistan for from 1947
yeah,
to 1971. During this time period, it was a really struggle for
yeah,
Bangladeshi people, because if you notice, especially the way we look like is quite different than some part of Pakistani people.
yeah. You mean the physical appearance?
Physical appearance,
Yeah,
the language we speak was completely different
right.
than Pakistan. So the first struggle for Bangladesh was the language. Even though I shouldn't say the first struggle. The first struggle, I should say that since Bangladesh was located far away from Pakistan, and the access of opportunity to the job market, to the economy, to education, like basic human rights. All these things we were far lag behind than the mainland Pakistan. So this was the main struggle that we had
Yeah.
before 1952, because during that time the Pakistani government wanted to impose on Bangladeshi people to speak Urdu.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So that Urdu will be in the official language. So, but we Bangladeshi, we speak in Bengali, we prefer to speak in Bangla.
Bangla.
So,
Just the joy Bangla means
victory to Bangla.
bring through to Bangla. Yeah, that's
Yes.
a very powerful thing. Joy Bangla.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Joy Bangla, right now the people perception is different. That means it belongs to Bangladesh. But actually, if you see the demographic of Bengali language speaking people, it's not only Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Bangladesh is East Bengal. It was with Pakistan, and West Bengal was with India.
Oh.
But still, West Bengal actually speak Bengali. So, okay, I don't want to take you in a different direction since we started talking about the history. Just
Yeah.
I will briefly jump to 1701, and then there was a language movement that we did not agree with Pakistani government, that we don't like we want to keep speaking Bengali, not Urdu.
Yeah.
So it was a very successful movement, and during that movement, the government killed some people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
By
and
some people, you mean? Can you give us some number? Like, was it like small number or big number?
it was. I don't have the exact number, but as so far I remember that 7 renowned political leader was killed.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So after that, actually, we achieved what we wanted to achieve, and we celebrate that victory
Yeah.
every 21st February.
21st February.
Yeah, and that day is known as International Mother Language Day,
Oh, okay.
and it is recognized all over the world. That's why you said International Mother Language Day.
Oh yeah.
This is the only country in this very world who fought against the government
Yeah.
to keep their language. They wanted to speak their language. So that's why that day is recognized in the whole world as International Mother Language Day.
Oh,
So it was a huge achievement for our country historically.
yeah.
So even though that was a big achievement, but still our struggle stayed, as I mentioned, that access to education, access to economy, overall infrastructure development, everything, we had a very limited access.
Yeah.
Like access to job. Like if I give you one example, India is a big country with a huge population, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now number 1 in the world.
Yes. Still, they have only one cricket team out of
Yeah.
1 billion people, right?
Yeah.
Now, we are a very small country. Still, we have one cricket team. So within this population, we have a team with 11 players from our own. And if I give example from West Bengal, it's a similar size population, similar size state. They have probably one or two representatives. So that gives you the idea that if there is a 100 job position open,
Yeah.
how many we get?
Yeah.
Maybe one or two. But if we have our own country within a small even though this is a small population, but still, if there are job opportunity, that is for ourselves.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, it was just an example that we had limited access to those resources. So from those frustration, the movement was ongoing, and then what happened in 1971, I'm not sure if you are familiar with that.
Not really. Not
Yeah,
really.
so we got a great leader to represent our voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So his name is Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman.
Sheikh Mujibur Rahman.
Yes. He was a parliament member in with Pakistani government
Yeah.
from our state. Like at that time, our state was known as East Bengal.
Yeah.
So he was a representative from our state
Yeah.
at the Pakistani parliament. So now, still, even though he was fighting with them to get our resources for ourselves, to improve our infrastructure, jobs, economy,
Yeah.
everything, but it was not good enough. So at that time, the liberation war started, and he called for
Yeah.
people that we need to fight to liberate our freedom, liberate ourselves
Oh, yeah.
from the foreign occupiers.
Mm.
So, and people listened to him and joined with the movement, the freedom fight movement. And we fought more than 9 months. And so many people lost their lives.
Yeah.
But one thing I have to appreciate, regardless the current political situation, that at that time, as a neighboring country, India had a big contribution during our liberation movement.
Yeah.
So they assisted with our army, they trained our people, they provided resources to fight against them. And then finally we achieved that freedom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it has been more than 50 years.
It was quite a big struggle, as we see like the numbers there, you know, in the independence, Bangla people around, like they lost around 3 million, 2 to 3 million
3
people.
million, 2 to 3
Yeah,
million people.
2 to 3 million people, and that's quite big number. That's quite big, like sacrifice for the sake of the liberation of the country, having a new country, and it shows that they were into the cause with all their heart and minds, you know, with all their lives, you know. And when I see Bangladesh, I remember my country, Afghanistan, a lot. Like, in some ways, Afghans also have similarities with Bangladeshi people. Uh, we are currently very good. We have been like we have had very good relationships in the political arena as well as the social arena, and the people from Bangladesh are not very. When we talk to them and when we see them, they are not very distant from our. We think that they are okay. They are our next 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 door neighbors, you know, and it is not the same with Pakistani people, I must say. I have a lot of friends with from Pakistan, and the people there are some good people, lovely people. Although we have had quite a strained relationship with their government, we naturally, or maybe as a product of that tension, we don't feel that much like closeness, I must say, with Pakistani people. But with Bangladeshi people, we have like more like better relationships. And you guys remind us of some of our qualities. Like we also struggled for independence a lot, and we have had also a lot of struggles among ourselves, you know, among the Afghans. And in Bangladesh, I think the political parties, they have had, like, after getting the independence, the second struggle that they saw was like there were disunity or uh, among the political factions inside Bangladesh. We had a similar situation in Afghanistan also.
So one thing is worth to mention when you are representing your struggle, your experience, that right after our liberation, a brand new state born, and nobody knew what to do,
Yeah.
how to run a state. Even though Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was a great leader,
Yeah.
but still he struggled to run that country after liberation at 1971. So, like, in a very brief way, we had a famine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you familiar with that? During that time?
During that time, I
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
So we had a famine. So people didn't have food, didn't have job, didn't have money, anything. It was even more struggle
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
liberation war. So, and even though he was a great leader, but some political decision was not well aligned with other parties. For
Yeah.
example, the army. Unfortunately, in 1975, he was assassinated
Yeah.
by the army, and then army actually took over the power
Yeah.
and governed the state. And after that, again, the struggle continued. That
Yeah.
one after another. So basically, the reason the I should say, I don't have the exact word, but the principle, I would say, or I should say, the principle was
Yeah.
that country after liberation will be democratic. There will be democratic election. There will be
That was
multiple
the
political parties.
expectation,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the expectation. There, democracy, equality, human rights, and access to education, everything. Like in a nutshell, that equality and human rights
Yeah.
will be the principal goal.
Mm.
But that didn't happen. Because when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was struggling to run that country at that time, he made a decision to shut off multi-political parties democracy. Then he
Yeah.
formed one party government. So, like one party alliance. Within that one party, there will be four and other political party will
Yeah.
join them and run the country. Just them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that didn't go well. So that's when at 1975 he was assassinated. And after that, one after another, the army continued to have that power in a different form. But
Yeah.
it will be too much time to explain in detail,
Yeah.
but in different form.
Yeah.
So, and then at 1991, finally, the two major political parties were able to topple the army government and took over the country in a democratic way.
Yeah, I see.
So even though that's another kind of liberation,
Yeah,
that from dictator or autocracy, now you got your country back on democracy.
yeah,
So even though it was a democracy, but actually, from my point of view, we are not ready for democracy. It's a long process. Probably it will take more time, but still we are making progress.
yeah,
So because whoever win the election and govern the country or run the country, they don't want to go away.
yeah. Like that's like another point that is common among between Bangladesh people and Afghan people.
Yeah.
There's one famous like story going among people. The eligibility of the story is questioned, but yeah, it has a good meaning. Like one of the big commanders of among the Mujahideen of Afghanistan who
Mhm.
fought against the Russians. So when they defeated, when the Russians were defeated somehow, and then the Mujahideen, all the groups, they took over the all over Afghanistan and Kabul, and he said that suddenly we realized that okay, now it is very different. Like it is not like picking up a gun and fighting against someone.
Mhm.
It is very difficult. You need to think economically, you need to think politically, you need to think socially, you have
Mhm.
to bring prosperity to the people, and that we were, no one was ready.
Ready for that.
Yeah, no one was ready for that. That's why after the Russians retreated from Afghanistan, then after 1 or 2 years, the Afghans, the different political factions or groups, they just like started to fight against each other.
Mm.
And yeah, that was another type of struggle that weren't very familiar with,
Mhm.
and we unfortunately in that struggle or test, our people lost a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. At that time, they had only
Yeah.
one goal: fight against them. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about. Now, once you win, now you have a different type of problem.
Yeah.
So that exactly same thing happened at 1971. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was able to motivate the whole country to fight against Pakistan,
Mm-hmm.
and they fought. And the only one goal: we need our freedom. That's it. But once we achieved, now we are not ready for it.
Yeah.
No one knows how to run the country. So that's why he struggled. But it was, even though he struggled, but I still acknowledge it was not justified
Yeah.
to kill someone that way
Yeah.
who has huge contribution for this country.
Was he killed by the army?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One way that Bangladesh differs from Afghanistan is that in our fightings or the civil wars, we lost a lot of people. Like a lot of people were killed, and the already very shaken infrastructure of the country was destroyed, like totally destroyed, and human resources were killed, and millions like left the country as a result of the civil war. But it is a good thing that in Bangladesh, the distraction during all these inner struggles, political struggles, it was not like it didn't bring this much distraction in your country. I think that is a very good point about the Bangladeshi people. Although they are very, like, they struggle and fight for their causes, but they haven't spilled the blood of their brothers, like to the extent that we have done in Afghanistan, unfortunately. And it brings us, I have had the opportunity to work with Bangladeshi people like for a long time in Kabul and in different areas that I have been so far in the past like 12 years. I have had some contact with Bangladeshi people. And yeah, so one thing that I noticed is that unlike the politically motivated Muslims, Bangladeshi people are not, they don't have that political Islamic identity on them. They have a more broader understanding of the religion, and their Islam is better than, it's not that okay, let's go take power and have the like presidency in our hand and have the money in our hand. So the Bangladeshi people are less motivated by political Islam, which is a very big debate.
You are absolutely right
Yeah.
on that part. Just I will sorry to interrupt. So in terms of that political Islamic political motivation, what as a Bangladeshi, what I feel that we are not a group of people who will be easily motivated by that kind of fanatic idea.
Yeah.
We are very much moderate. You know, okay, you are really like you have a strong opinion. Okay, you just continue with that,
Yeah.
but just don't try to impose your idea on everybody.
Yeah.
So, which is why we have still in Bangladesh we still have Islamic party like Jamaat Islami
Yeah.
is completely based on religion
Yeah.
like Islam. So, but Jamaat Islami, even though in some areas they do better, they do have good intention or political structure or some policies, but still they are not successful in Bangladesh
Yeah.
because Bangladeshi people as a whole, they never supported any extremist idea.
Yeah.
They never.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a very fortunate thing. I
yeah,
should
and
say.
also one thing I would say, even though Bangladesh has struggled politically right after liberation, and also governed by different army government, some of them had good vision, and they did not directed the country in a different direction,
Yeah.
In a different direction like extremism.
Yeah.
So, which is I think another reason that people are more like tolerant, yeah, more tolerance
Yeah.
and more moderate in terms of extremism,
Yeah.
and in terms of education. Bangladesh achieved a huge growth.
Yeah.
So yeah, in education.
I will ask about education. Just to give you one fact about supporting your statement. So in Afghanistan, we have seen fighters from many countries. Like they have come to fight Russians, they have come to fight like Afghans. So Arabs, we have seen in Afghanistan. Pakistanis, we have seen. From Tajikistan, people, radical groups sent from Turkey. There were like a lot of people coming and joining the Taliban or the Mujahideen before them to fight. But I haven't personally, I haven't heard any person from Bangladesh to come and pick up gun and fight and kill and destroy,
Mm-hmm.
and be motivated by that radical Islamic ideas that stem from mostly from areas like the infrastructure is in areas like between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and financially supported by some countries. So yeah, we haven't heard any people from Bangladesh to come and join forces with the Taliban or the Mujahideen to. That's a good point. That is like that shows that yeah, to some extent there the people are more able to think clearly and to think with with the very fundamental principles of Islam, which is
Peace.
peace and
Yeah.
to follow peace and to seek peace and to use your brain before doing anything and yeah, to minimize hatred, you know, and minimize. That's why minimize hatred and minimize fighting, which is a kind of sign for hatred, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in that sense, Bangladeshi people have done. They haven't failed. Like they haven't like been trapped in that ideology and thinking ideologically and going that way. You said education. So is education very like supports this idea or nurtures this idea in the people that they don't fall into extremism? Is education is the main like point?
Well, it's a. I wouldn't say it's only the achievement through education. I would say it's a bit cultural.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So culturally, we had, like, even though we are Muslim majority country, but other diverse group of religious people, like Hindu, Christian, some other group. So, and they lived and went along very well. And yeah, they are, like, it's a, when you have a huge population, there will be some problem,
Yeah.
and there were some problem. But overall, if you compare the way you described that religious extremism, that thing never happened. And one of the interesting thing that I would say that this is our advantage. We shared border with India,
Yeah, yeah. You're more distant from.
like, in all the way.
Yeah.
So the political influence only the country can have is India, not other countries,
Yeah.
because they are like from far away. Like, geographically, Afghanistan is located in a place everybody has interest.
Yeah.
Russia, Iran, Pakistan. Sometimes now India is coming in and joining with them. So all the countries have a different ideology and different agenda. But for Bangladesh, only India has agenda,
Yeah.
nobody else. So that's probably one of the reason that religious extremism, because it is just my opinion, religious extremism is not only the ideology, it's a political and economic financial support. It need that.
Yeah.
Like, when I think about Afghanistan, is only 6 million people, right?
Now it is like around 40. Yeah.
40 million people.
Yeah.
So 40 million people.
Yeah.
So, and the economy is not that large. So where they get the money for the weapon?
Yeah.
So there are some people
That's a good
who are
question.
supporting,
Yeah.
buying those things to keep them alive. So that thing never happened in Bangladesh, because you need finance
Yeah.
to create that group and fight against them to
So-
each other.
Yeah.
So that was absent. That's one of the reasons that I believe. And culturally, we are naturally, like, not extremist. We don't like extremism
Yeah.
in any form or from any religion.
Yeah.
Like, it Hindu or Muslim or Christian, nobody. Because I, like, most people practice in their way, they learn, but never practice the extremism. That was like that was my opinion. That's one of the reasons that we are not on that side,
Yeah.
because nobody had a different intention to create that group and keep them alive and fight against each other.
So, like in Afghanistan, you pointed a very good topic, like the sources of finance for these fightings or for the groups that are creating problem. One of the main sources is this drug, like opium and heroin, drug cultivation, and like the selling those and like distribution of that to the world. So that's a big income for those people, and it is very like unfortunate to see that the people who kind of popularized the cultivation of drugs in Afghanistan, the opium and the likes, were the Islamic groups during the fight against the Russians.
Interesting.
Yeah, because the US and Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, they were backing the Mujahideen groups, and the Mujahideen groups at first they had the backing of the people as well, but financially and weaponry wise, so these big countries were kind of supporting them.
Funneling
Yeah, funneling
all
like
the weapons and money and
human
resources.
resources, and ideologies. Like then there came a point that for the continuation or sustainability of this struggle or this fight against the common enemy, which was Russia at that time. So these Mujahideen groups were kind of encouraged to to cultivate and produce like drugs, so that they would like sell that and then finance their war against.
Let me
Yeah.
let me ask you one question. Yeah, I'm not huge knowledgeable on in terms of religion. So Mujahideen is a very interesting name.
Yeah.
So Mujahid, what does it mean? Is a winner?
So
Shahid is a martyr.
It's an Arabic word, means like a person who performs jihad, which is the struggle for the sake of Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the literature, the religious literature, jihad means to establish the will of Allah in your hearts, in yourself, and in your like among people, like as a society, in the society, do something that would make the name of Allah alive and alive in the hearts and in the hearts of people and in the society. It is something to develop this kind of struggle that would result in making this notion of like this idea of believing in God strong and stronger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like in a very brief,
Yeah.
the action of those people will make happy Allah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah. That's one of the
Okay.
results. Yeah.
So how come like cultivating opium will make Allah happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
How come killing people will make Allah happy?
Yeah.
So you are taking Mujahideen,
Yeah.
the name from Islam, but you are fighting a completely different war.
Yeah.
So you are taking money from other countries and fighting against Russian. What is the deal with Islam here?
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, this is a very valid question to ask and valid point to answer it. We see in Islamic groups this dichotomy, this duality, that whatever they talk, they speak of, whatever values that they are claiming that they are adhering to, is something, is one side of the those people, and on the other side, in the actions arena or in their policies, they are like clinging to those values very less. They follow a very fundamentally different types of values. For example, they say that we are mujahideen, we do jihad, we do for the sake of happiness of Allah,
Mm-hmm.
but they follow any means to achieve their goals, which is fundamentally a very materialistic strategy or approach. Like when you study the political like fundamentals of the politics in the West, it stems from people like Niccolo Machiavelli, which says that in order to gain your target or to achieve your goal, you can follow any path. So you're free to kill, you're free to rob, you're free to harm. That is the kind of like
That's a fanatic idea.
yeah, basic idea. But in our values, in our Islamic values, we say that okay, if you have your targets or goals should be like legitimate kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You should not have like you should have a very legitimate goal like liberating the country, like
Saving your own people.
saving your culture, saving
Mm-hmm.
your people. And while doing this, you should follow certain principles, like you cannot kill innocent people, you cannot destroy the nature, you cannot destroy like the people who are not fighting against you,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe in the side of the enemy. So there are a whole lot of literature and principles that should be followed for that reason. But we see that these people don't follow that.
They just follow their own rules.
Yeah, they just follow their own rules, and being a Muslim for them just stays in their words, but not in their actions. It is not reflected in their actions.
So, another question that brings me another question
Yeah.
regarding that Mujahideen fight against the Russian. So at that time, Afghanistan was occupied by Russian.
Yeah,
Okay, so the Mujahideen was fighting for liberation,
yeah,
and the other parties were funding the Mujahideen to fight against Russia.
yeah,
Okay, so that is justified, but it still is not just as a whole.
yeah,
If there is a liberation war against Russia, so the motive should be like the way I said, when Bangladeshi people fought against Pakistan, they were not Mujahideen,
yeah,
they were freedom fighter,
yeah,
they were seeking freedom. So if that is the case for Afghanistani people, it nothing to do with religion.
yeah,
They are simply seeking freedom from Russian.
yeah,
If that is the case, still that doesn't go with Islam.
yeah,
So it just, I'm really confused how Islam can be motivating factor for this kind of fight.
yeah. So the utility of this using Islam here, it is using Islam. The utility or the benefit of using Islam for these groups, or kind of it gives them a shield and like a clothes, like a clothing, you know, that they would appear in front of the civilian, like normal everyday people, to attract them and to
Easy to motivate them.
yeah, easy to motivate them. People like who are like everyday people, who are normal people, who are not like very like educated, highly organized, or they are not very like they are not supported by a very solid and healthy society.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that is a kind of a shield or a kind of a,
It's a kind of sugar cut
sugar coating for attracting
people.
people. And it is not like only that. The the way that these people think and they perceive Islam is very different. They also like,
Absolutely.
yeah, some of the characteristics of these people, Islamic groups,
Mhm.
which is like synonymous with political Islam. Some of their characteristics are like this: that they are more reliant. They tend to be more reliant on reading the Quran without seeing the revelations or interpretations of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So they have a kind of religious understanding solely coming from the Quran, but not being supported by the interpretations of Prophet Muhammad, of the Ashab, and of the scholars who came after that. So when they strip their religious understanding from all these great people who had like very pure understanding about Islam, and they only like try to open Quran and read from that and then go do something. So their understanding becomes very like fragile and inconsistent at times, because in our mazhab, like Hanafi mazhab, we say that if you only seek something from the Quran but not see or seek its interpretations first in the life of Prophet Muhammad and then the scholars after him, then you would have a very narrow understanding and a very, at times, a very conflicting understanding. For example, in the Quran, it says that in a verse that the Christians and the Jews will not be your friends. Yeah, there's a verse like that. So fight against them wherever you find them, and don't show mercy. Something like this, it says. So what these politically motivated Muslims do is take that from from the Quran, take that verse, and then act upon it. Whereas the the Muslims like Abu Hanifa, Imam Abu Hanifa, and the Ashab, what they did was they take a verse and then see what Prophet was saying about it, what Prophet Muhammad was saying about it, what Quran itself as a whole said about that verse, and then what the uh, the facts or the realities of that they demand. So they would have a lot of thinking process going on for understanding a very small or short verse of the Quran. So yeah, that has become so dangerous now that, okay, when you hear that a Muslim opens Quran and reads from it, you say it's very natural. It's a very good, like, it's a correct course of action, so to speak. But when you think deeper, it becomes apparent that doing only this will make people
confused,
and the religious understanding that they would have would be very conflicting and at times inconsistent with the principles of Islam itself. So that is one problem, that they don't regard Prophet Muhammad's interpretations. The big people, scholars like Imam Abu Hanifa and this school or other schools, their interpretations or their understanding, and that they just go and like act upon it. That is one of their like big characteristic. The second characteristic that you would see in these groups is that they don't have very big alim in them. Like very young people are there and they interpret and bring fatwa about fighting against this or that. So the majority of these groups are constituted of people who are very young, and they don't have very distinguished and distinguished alims or scholars. They don't have that, but on top of that, they don't have like a community of alim scholars that would sit and like say that, okay, this verse means this, now we should act like in this way. So what they do, there's one alim, there's one scholar in these groups. He sits and he takes out a verse, and he doesn't care if the Bangladeshi scholars, if scholars from Turkey, if scholars from Egypt, what are their interpretations, what are their approaches. So he acts only on himself, and there's not any type of ijma, collective work for understanding and interpreting this religious like literature. That's why they are very local. They have local scholars. Whatever they say is not like approved by majority of Muslims or by all Muslims. It is very small, 1% or 0.1% of people sitting somewhere, and yeah. So this is their second like characteristics. They have a lot of characteristics. One of their characteristics is that they have an infrastructure that is, we don't know who built that infrastructure. I mean, the madrasa, the books that they read there. So, for example, you would hear hadiths or sayings of Prophet Muhammad that are regarding fighting a lot when you go somewhere in these cities. Like you would say that, okay, did Prophet Muhammad only talk about fighting? When you go and read his life there, his life is only about fighting. They say that, okay, he fought here, he fought there, he fought there. So there's a kind of intentionally portraying Prophet Muhammad in a very specific way that would benefit these people's agendas, like to increase their soldiers, to motivate them to fight. So the material that they extract, and then they teach young people who doesn't know anything about Islam. They just recruit from Afghanistan, from India, from Tajikistan, and then they bring it in a very remote area of Pakistan in a madrasa. Who knows who has founded that? And then they just say that this is Islam, whatever they say, like, and go kill until they are all killed. So that's kind of the teaching there. So yeah, this is another characteristic of these people, that they have been taught selectively and intentionally only those parts of this very big and very deep religion, which kind of supports the interests of certain groups. It is very interesting, in Pakistan, these people go study for 10 years in the madrasa, and when they are graduated from that madrasa, they are very good killers. They kill people very easily without any hesitation. Yeah, they are very good killers, and you would imagine, what did you study during these 10 years? We have seen in Afghanistan that they come there and they kill innocent people, they kill civilians, they kill children, they kill women, and they kill soldiers.
No, I mean, we have a madrasa education system too, and it's very old. I mean, the madrasa education system is there for a long time.
Yeah.
But still, we don't have those kind of people.
Yeah, because the material that is there, the people who govern those organizations, they are different.
Yeah. So that's but still, couple of things surprised me. Now, I mean nowadays,
Yeah.
nowadays, even though people are not well educated,
Yeah.
still they have access to the information like whatever they want. If someone preached to them, this is what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, you have to do it. If he wants, he can verify that.
Yeah.
He can go to the internet, check that verse, and check some explanation, and still should be able to understand. Okay, the most surprising story that I want to share. United States is a very like rich country with huge resources, but still, when I was in Mississippi, there was a brother who used to come to the mosque and pray with us. He used to live right beside the mosque, and he has 3 kids, 1 daughter and 2 sons, and they are all brilliant,
Yeah.
very successful. And the youngest one was was going to Mississippi State, and at some point he was motivated by extremist
Yeah.
people, and he was leaving that country. And not extremist people, actually, he was, according to his statement, that he was motivated by his girlfriend and was going to join like those extremist people, and then he got caught at the airport and went to jail. So my question is, this is very weird. Like, someone come to me and preach me, hey, this is the right path, and this is the right way to go. I would just say, why don't you go?
Yeah. Yeah.
You go first and get something, and then come back to me and discuss. We will discuss again.
Yeah.
But still, people are going there. I don't know what is the magic in there. The type of people you were talking about, yes, I agree. Things like that sometimes will work very well because they don't know and they don't have access to the information and they cannot verify.
Yeah.
So what about other people are preaching to them? They are like supposed to believe those things, right?
Yeah.
Like, so those crazy idea, but it's still probably working. Maybe certain years later will not work anymore
Yeah.
when they will have access to the education and they will be self-aware or aware of the religion.
Yeah.
So that will be more like what should I say? It will be difficult to motivate them with
Yeah.
that kind of ideology.
Yeah.
So, but still, when I saw that example,
Yeah.
that struck me that how this is possible.
Yeah.
This is a first world country, and they have all kind of resources.
Yeah.
And if someone come to preach them, okay, this is what is the truth.
Yeah.
You go and check the fact,
Yeah.
and then you make the decision.
Yeah.
But still, this problem is here.
Yeah. 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 These extremist groups, they attract a lot of young people from first world, as you said, first world or developed, very developed countries.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that is a fact, and they have been these extremist groups, they have been very successful in recruiting young and isolated sometimes or disturbed youngsters of the West who live here, and they are in a kind of like they have certain psychological educational problems with themselves, who are having identity problems, even who are having psychological problems. They are alone, they have like families who are in disarray, and yeah, so those kinds of people who are young very emotional,
Hmm.
not very intelligent in
Or
that way.
they are not able to think,
Hot-headed, yeah.
yeah, logically.
Logically,
Why I'm doing it.
yeah, yeah. Very
And
hot-headed,
hmm.
and they are very successful. But coming back to Bangladesh and,
Hmm.
your area of, like, from where you are from, so the people are very different. And there was this friend of mine. The other day I recommended him to marry a Bangladeshi woman.
Okay.
Yeah, because
That's interesting.
yeah, these last, like, late, most recent years, I have had the opportunity to meet a lot of Bangladeshi people, a lot of Bangladeshi women, also girls in the university and in different setups. And I have noticed that the Bangladeshi women are very well behaving, and they are very uh, quiet and lovely people. And my friends' wives that I have met with, and they are very l- less expecting, not
Hmm.
very demanding type of woman, uh, very loyal to their husbands, and so it is a kind, it is an identity, like, that is very different. And I say then, I was thinking that, okay, uh, that that woman, those types of women would make a very good wife, for people.
Hmm.
So, am I right with my observation? Like, what is this with Bangladeshi women? Like, their characteristics, uh, like, how are they so good? Characteristic wise,
Hmm. No, I mean, uh, you are right at certain degree,
Yeah,
but the society is changing.
yeah,
The type of women you described, I would say, just 20 years back,
yeah,
it was the case.
yeah,
Because, yeah, our society is like monogamy.
yeah,
And especially when the environment, the the way the girls grown up, it's just a culture or family tradition
yeah,
that you you should live by the rules that your family impose.
mm,
Okay, so one of the things that, from my experience, even though my mother was not highly educated, but the type of relationship my father and my mother had
mm,
is extraordinary. My mother was housewife, take care of the household things,
yeah.
raise kids, but still, so that when I grown up, I saw that.
Extraordinary. What do you mean by that? Like, their relationship was
Yeah,
extraordinary in what
extraordinary.
sense?
Because in a hard sense, it is kind of, uh, how should I say, it just take caring each other,
Oh yeah, loving each other,
loving each other,
caring for each other.
and have respect for each other. Okay,
Yeah,
and plenty of loves for the kids.
yeah,
Okay, so that sort of things is not only from my family, surroundings. The the majority people that I know, there are some exception.
yeah,
People are not same; they're different.
yeah, yeah,
So being a loyal woman sometimes not, I should not say loyal, or very submissive, or uh, not vocal woman sometimes is dangerous. Some people abuse it.
yeah,
So that's another problem. So when you have grown up in that kind of environment, then you have a sense. You see your mother, you see your father, they are loyal to each other. So you become one of them.
yeah, yeah. That's the first school, for
Yes.
the children.
But let's say if you are grown up with someone, like you see that your family members have a different kind of relationship, and you see that one, it is I should not say it is the absolute way that he will become one of them,
Yeah.
but it is most likely that kind of relationship will have an impact
Yeah. Definitely.
on the next
Yeah.
generation,
Yeah.
right? So that was the case, that when in a family parents have that kind of relationship, the childrens are most likely become one of them
Yeah.
and adopt their behavior or characteristics
Yeah. Yeah.
within them.
Yeah.
That's 20 years back. That's our generation.
Yeah.
When we have, I'm loyal to my wife.
Yeah.
My wife is loyal to me.
Mm-hmm.
We have never been in a relationship with other girl. So, or my wife, that's what
Vice
she
versa,
said, and
yeah.
I believed her. So, and we have beautiful baby, and we are trying to raise her on our own way, even though she is very little. But anyway, but the society has changed a lot. As I mentioned, that being a not vocal or submissive or loyal to husband is sometimes dangerous, and it becomes some people try to abuse it,
Yeah.
and this is one factor to solve that problem. Another problem is it's not a problem. Now women has more access to education, so they are more outgoing, and they are more having job, they are
Yeah.
independent women, and they enjoy the freedom. So if you come close to those kind of women who enjoy freedom, have highly educated, maybe you will have a different opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but not, again, it's hard to generalize.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as I said, when you are grown up with that kind of environment,
Yeah.
you most likely adopt some of the characteristic from them, and then you become one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was in living in Kabul for a long time, and my director and some managers, they were from Bangladesh, and my colleague Sukumar, he was from Bangladesh. He brought his wife to Kabul, and during that time, Kabul was very chaotic, and there were every now and then there was a suicide attack. But his wife was with Sukumar and lived there, and bear all the struggle that her husband was going through. And so in that sense, she was supporting her husband in that way, being there psychological support for him,
Mm-hmm.
so that he would success. When I moved to South Korea, there I was with another Bangladeshi people, Jantabai, and Jantabai, you were
Mm-hmm.
saying, yeah, Jantabai, and he was living in a very small room, like half of this room,
Mm-hmm.
and Bobby was living, his wife, in that room with their kid, and all the Bangladeshi families were living similar, under similar like
Condition.
conditions, yeah. And Jantabai was like coming to the lab and working from like 7 in the morning to until 10 p.m. in the like at night.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was every day. But his wife was so supporting and like trying to support him raise the kid under those conditions. And we were not getting much salary at that time, so his life was more or less like me, like and yeah. So this gave me that idea that okay, like maybe Bangladeshi women are like raised differently or something, and they have like this kind of least expectant or demanding situation, and they support their like uh, husbands, and that's quite a good characteristic and trait to have.
Yeah. So, in that point, um, the girls who are educated and comes from middle class family,
Yeah,
they are most likely, not all of them,
yeah,
they are most likely the family you have seen, the women you have seen,
yeah,
that even though they are struggling, but still they are stick together
yeah,
because I'm from. I wouldn't say I was middle class. I was a lower middle class family.
mm,
So financial struggle is a part of our life. You know,
yeah,
you don't have too much
to,
luxury, and also not too less to like huge less or huge struggle.
yeah,
So you need to learn how efficiently you can manage your research. So that kind of girl, they learn that lesson
yeah,
from their family, even though they have limited resources, but they learn how to use efficiently and survive.
yeah,
And they know one thing: this struggle is temporary.
yeah,
So as you have mentioned that he is working from 7 to 10, and that will definitely change something for him.
yeah,
And probably it did at by the time we are talking about that family,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So that the kind of education they get from that family,
yeah,
middle class family. I think you will have a very different opinion
yeah.
if that girl come from the
Higher educated.
upper
Yeah,
class. Even though education is a matter, but still upper class who are grown up within very luxury or an affluent situation.
yeah,
You, if you ask that girl to live with that half of this room within that room with a kid, they will never do that
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
they have plenty of those.
Yeah, yeah,
So it just depends. You are happen to be lucky to know that family. It's
yeah.
not always the case.
So like, yeah, in Afghanistan situation, say, like, I'm laughing because, uh, first of all, like, getting married is a very big struggle there, like financially,
Okay.
because the girl side, they are very demanding during the wedding,
Hmm.
especially.
Okay.
They demand like very high standard of like wedding, like you know, wedding ceremonies, like 2 3 days it continues, and it's a huge burden financially to the on the boy side. So they are very demanding in that sense. Uh, but generally, psychologically speaking, the continuous wars in Afghanistan has inflicted a lot of psychological wounds, you know, on
Hmm.
people, men and women both. And we have been like damaged psychologically in many ways. We are prone maybe to anxiety, to depression sometimes, and we are hot-headed in that sense. We don't have patience, and our uh, understanding capabilities are crippled. You know, so we have been like destroyed in many fronts and psychologically once.
It's just living in a fearful
Yeah,
situation
yeah,
always.
yeah, always stressful and
Stress.
fearful situations. So, what has that inflicted on women? Uh, it is my observation, of course, and it is. I haven't read any research with sound statistics, you know, but it has created an anxiety in women a lot because they are more stressed that okay, how we would survive, how my children would survive, how my husband would survive. So they have been in a constant state of like being under stress and being scared that the children that they have would be damaged, would be harmed in some ways. So that has inflicted like a lot of anxiety in Afghan women, I should say, and in manner inflicted in other ways. So yeah, so that's why like the relationship is being affected by that, state of mind and state of psyche, their psyche. So yeah, this anxiety and thinking a lot about survival, uh, that has affected the relationships between man
Mhm.
and woman.
It is understandable
Yeah, it is understandable.
because you you never get a day off from fear.
Yeah, yeah,
Every single day you need to think about your kid, about yourself,
yeah,
being like being within that environment, like always in a fearful situation.
yeah,
So I think it is very much understandable,
yeah,
and yeah, I hope sometimes the country will get the freedom back from these lunatics.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Coming to like talking about countries, you have been like for how long in the US?
I came here 2015.
2015. Oh,
Yeah, almost
like
8 years.
8, 9 years you have
9
been here.
years.
So, as a researcher and a person who has been in the academic area all these times, yeah. What is your experience here in the research environment in the U.S.? So, how it has turned up here for you?
Well, that's yeah. My journey is a bit interesting because before I before I come here, um, I did not have a huge research experience. After I graduate from the university, non-thesis, masters. So then I started working for for a project, a research project that is funded from the University of Chicago,
Okay.
Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
and that project was public health, nutrition.
Uh-huh.
So it was a huge project, and then it just it was just happened to me. I graduated, and then I got a phone call. Are you looking for a job? Yes, I do. So we have a job. Do you want to work? Why not? Let's go. And I started working for that project, and that made me okay. Why not staying in the research and academia?
Yeah.
And then actually I started thinking more seriously that I will try to pursue higher education. So then I prepared and got those tests and looking for the opportunity, and then I found the opportunity at Mississippi State for PhD program. It was a very good scholarship
Mm-hmm.
from Memphis. So, and then I came here. The experience was kind
To
of
Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee.
not Mississippi, Starkville, Mississippi.
Oh, okay, there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was surreal to me at the
Oh, yeah.
beginning. It's kind of overwhelming. The availability of resource and opportunity to have to learning opportunity and everything. And most importantly, most interesting part, that I started my PhD program under a faculty who was from China.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then people around me actually kind of have hold a kind of negative attitude that faculty from China is kind of difficult to deal with. But
Yeah.
I was so lucky that he treated me like a son.
Yeah.
You know, he just visited just during the Christmas. He came to my place.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
to see me. Yeah, he was He was going to visit his son at New York, and then he stopped by at night, and we had a dinner, and then day after, next morning they went to New York, and yeah, it was a nice meeting. So he was a nice person. So I started my journey that way, and I started learning about the research, taking courses. So it was very stressful at the beginning because uh, the coursework and take care of the research project, and also, as I mentioned, that lack of research experience from background, it was a lot to catch up.
Yeah.
So at the beginning it was stressful, but since I mentioned, he was so helpful, including a couple of other committee members.
Yeah.
So it becomes easy later on, but it was definitely a struggle at the beginning, and then so yeah, briefly I would describe my journey this way. Yeah, just a struggle. PhD itself is a struggle.
Yeah.
So but it was like how should I say, uh, when I graduated, it's a different kind of feeling. Yeah, I did it.
Yeah, you did. You
You know?
achieved it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rewarding.
Yeah.
All the struggle and difficulties in terms of everything, adapting to new environment, catching up with the research, lack of knowledge, and everything all together. But when I did, it was very happy moment.
Yeah. You
And-
married here while you were doing PhD?
I did not marry here. Yes, I got married when I was doing PhD in 2018. What I did, I went back home, and I knew a girl when I was in college,
Oh, yeah.
but we didn't have any formal relationship. But I used
But
to.
you had an eye, you know.
Yeah, that's a.
You naughty boy.
No, I mean it was kind of. I used to. I was familiar with her, like cousins
Yeah.
and cousins' family. So she used to visit their place, and I saw her
Yeah.
at that moment. But after I graduated from college, actually, we did not have any communication, like what should I say, like 5-7 years. So, but in 2018, when I was looking for a girl to get married, and it just happened. We talked and it worked,
Yeah.
and then I got married, and we are happy. Yeah, we just passed 2018, like 4 years,
Okay. Yeah.
and we have a beautiful girl now.
Mashallah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, your research area is like nutrition. You said
Yes.
nutrition.
That's amino acid. Especially, I worked with lysine and methionine,
Yeah.
and effect of lysine and methionine on muscle growth.
On muscle growth.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So we fed those animals and analyzed the gene expression in the muscle,
Yeah.
that what kind of genes are responsive to that dietary difference, the level of those amino acids.
Yeah.
So that was the main goal.
Main goal.
Yes.
That yeah. Nutrition. Talking about nutrition, it is really a very important subject and area. Individually and personally, like everyone should know something about nutrition, you know.
Yes.
But research-wise, you how many publications did you have? Like, did you have or have you had so far in this area, and what are their like achievements in that area?
Yeah, I have quite a few publications. So I published from my PhD, and yeah, after my graduation, I did a 1.5 year postdoc in the same department with another professor. So in like all these 6 years, I published a good number of abstract,
Wow.
like almost 17 abstract
Wow, that's good.
and 5 full manuscript. 3 of them, so I'm a first author.
Mhm.
2 of them I was like co-authors.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. I think that's a good number.
So, like the research environment in the US is very different than other countries.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
no doubt about that.
So, as per your experiences, what are the strong points of doing research in US university or here, and what are the downsides? Yeah, so far you are a very experienced person in this area. So, what are the strong points and the downsides of doing research?
Okay, first of all, the strong point, there are so many.
Yeah,
So the number one is financial support.
yeah,
So I come from Bangladesh, so I know how it works over there.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so even though even though there are some financial support for research, like I would say there are limited research financial support for research, but still sometimes I notice that those resources are not utilized in a proper way because of corruption. So other than that, come back to here in the United States, the number one advantage is that financial support
yeah,
is there.
definitely.
And number two is the quality of research, the quality of the faculty recruitment for research. So research is a completely different thing. It's a completely different ballgame. It's not politics.
Yeah,
So only people who has very critical mind and way of thinking, they only succeed in this area. Otherwise, other people are not. So with that, I mean the scholar that you will be working at the university, they have certain degree of quality.
yeah,
Number three is the infrastructure.
yeah,
So this is, yeah, I think I should, yeah, this could be number three, the
Yeah.
infrastructure. The type of infrastructure you will see, I don't think that
yeah,
any other countries in the world will be afford to do that.
yeah,
So in back home in Bangladesh, even though in agriculture research, Bangladesh made a tremendous progress, because the production capacity increased in many folds. I don't have the exact number, or I don't follow that thing, but still, we have a huge population, right?
yeah,
170 million people,
yeah.
and with this tiny land, still we are able to feed them. That
Yeah.
means we have that production capacity.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's the huge development for our country. But still, regarding research, is not as it should be. But here, within the university, they have the research facility is very well organized and very much available to the faculties, whatever idea they want to implement or study. So that was another thing that I see. Those are key element that I can describe that's very strong.
right.
Downside is, I would go with one thing that I have seen. I wouldn't say in terms of I would say it's just a experience label,
Yeah,
sometimes they hire a student may not, like their interest, the student interest and faculty interest are not well aligned.
Yeah.
They don't go well with each other. That makes life difficult for both.
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is, and it's no way you can actually fix this kind of problem. And another thing is, even though you have all the availability, like available resources, and still you have limitation with the money you will get from the fund. You are not, sometimes you are not able to spend the way you want. It's a very structured way, so that kind of limits sometimes. Okay, you have an idea to do something, but still you are not able to do that thing. So that couple of things that I would say.
Okay, it has been like 2 hours now. So I
Oh,
know
that's-
you're a very busy person, and yeah, thank you for today. And it was a nice chat with you. I really enjoyed, and you made me like think about Bangladesh more, and hopefully in the future I get the opportunity to visit and live in Bangladesh for some time, you know.
You are
Yeah.
always welcome.
Yeah,
We are very friendly people,
and
and
I love the food in Bangladesh actually, which is seafood element, a lot of seafood, plus the Indian type of spiciness, you know, which is a very differentiating characteristic of the culture there, the food there in Bangladesh, and yeah, I like that, and I have had the opportunity. I have been lucky to eat those food with my friends, Bangladeshi friends, and yeah, I really love that element of the Bangladeshi cuisine, which is different than the India or Pakistan or Afghani food. So I will definitely go sometime in Bangladesh. And
you are always welcome. And
Yeah.
whenever you will think about Bangladesh, you can always think that you have a friend.
Thank you, brother. Thank
Yeah,
you. I
you're
wish you
and
all the best.
yeah, thank you so much. And again, I appreciate, and I really enjoyed talking with you. And I didn't realize we were talking 2 hours.
Yeah.
It is all right, man.
Yeah.